military service, with an increase in draft evasion cases following the government's decision to extend the conscription period to 1 year. A recent poll shows over 52% of respondents are unwilling to sacrifice their lives to defend Taiwan, which is an increase of 8.4 percentage points from just 2 years ago. This reluctance is especially strong among young adults, who view military service as a disruption to their careers. Meanwhile, authorities are investigating widespread draft dodging, including claims of falsified medical diagnosis, despite rising tensions with Beijing. Many Taiwanese remain skeptical about the likelihood of war, viewing conscriptions as an inconvenience rather than a necessity. Experts warn that Taiwan's defense readiness is undermined by this disconnect, while reforms to conscription and military training are now being considered. Now for this discussion, we welcome back Andrew K.P. Long. He's a China strategist, joins us live from Hong Kong. Thank you very much, Andrew, for staying with us. Andrew, what do you think is the background or the reason behind these Chinese youth or young adults unwilling to participate in defending Taiwan and joining the army? And how do you think, how should Taiwan do this or for their defense?
Well, of course, Taiwan has lost its international recognition as a country right after President Nixon's historic visit to Beijing and recognizing the People's Republic of China as the rightful authority representing the whole of China under the One China policy. But diplomatically, of course, Taiwan has been increasingly sidelined. It's only very handful of very small countries are still recognizing Taiwan. And of course, economically, Taiwan also depends hugely on the mainland, China's mainland market. The two peoples on both sides of the Taiwan Strait are increasingly interacting in terms of tourism, in terms of investments, in terms of business opportunities, including production of Chinese films and TV series. So I think that there is a momentum towards unification. However, most of the Taiwanese people do not support unification, nor do they dare to declare independence. Especially if declaring independence would trigger a war, because the Beijing already enacted an anti-succession act long time ago, decades ago, to forestall this eventuality. And it's building up its military again to forestall, to deter any movement towards declaring formal independence. The United States doesn't want war over Taiwan. It has never, of course, it doesn't recognize Taiwan as an independent country, but it doesn't want war over Taiwan. But it has a Taiwan Relations Act, which empowers the American administration to continue to supply arms to Taiwan. Of course, this will bring more money to the U.S. administration. But on the question of sovereignty, the United States always maintained this, it should be left for the both sides. But it opposes unilateral changing the status quo by military means. That remains the United States policy. But Beijing is not about to invade Taiwan anytime soon, because it's seeing this as a deliberate trap because the Taiwan waters remain a treacherous divide. And Beijing's preference remains peaceful unification in outlining all these over the dynamics which I've outlined: people exchanges, business opportunities, economic diplomatic isolation, and military deterrence. Now the Taiwanese young people, because a lot of them have been to mainland China, the two sides of which the people are visiting each other through tourism. Of course, the two systems are very different politically, but it's not the end of the world. Most of them are now, as you outlined at the beginning of this program, they do not see why they should risk their lives and to defend something which is not defendable, even though they remain opposing unification, but they know that the clock is ticking because President Xi set a deadline of 2049. But still, some reasonably long way to go. So there are sufficient dynamics for both sides to come to terms. But on the one hand, they don't want to change the status quo. On the other hand, they don't want to be pushed into a war. And that's what's happening.
Right. With that, I would like to thank Andrew K.P. Long for joining us today and sharing that insight as a China strategist throughout our news. Thank you very much. Now we move on to